안녕하십니까? 쇄도잉 100일의 기적입니다. 큰 목소리로 따라하시는 게 가장 중요합니다. 그럼 지금부터 21일차 쇄도잉을 시작하겠습니다.
My name is Emily, and I live in Manchester, England. When I was just 21 years old, I got married. It was a love marriage. My husband's name was Aaron Mitchell. He was a calm and kind man. He never raised his voice, and he always seemed polite. But his mother, Mrs. Margaret Mitchell, didn't like me. From the very first day, she made it clear that I was not welcome in her home. I tried everything to make her happy. I was a very simple girl. I didn't expect much. I cleaned the house, cooked fresh meals, and respected everyone. I greeted her every morning with a smile and touched her feet as a sign of respect. I loved her like my own mother. But in return, I never received a smile, not even once. Her eyes were cold like winter, and her words were always sharp like glass. I had a soft and caring heart, but her home felt hard, like a place with no love. After 1 year of marriage, I got pregnant. I was overjoyed. My heart danced with happiness. I began to imagine my future with my child. I thought about his first words, his tiny fingers, his soft smile. Every night I would place my hand on my belly and talk to my baby. But in the 7th month, something went terribly wrong. One morning, I felt a sudden sharp pain in my stomach. I cried out in fear and pain. I screamed. My husband rushed me to the hospital. My hands were on my belly, and I prayed to God, "Please save my baby, please." After a while, the doctor came out. His face looked serious. He sat beside me and said the words that broke my soul. "I am very sorry. Your baby did not survive." At that moment, time stopped for me. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't even cry. My baby, my world was gone before I ever got to hold him. It felt like someone had taken away a part of me, and I would never get it back. After that day, I was not the same. I became weak. My body hurt, but my heart hurt more. I stayed inside my room. I didn't talk. I didn't eat properly. I just cried quietly. My mother-in-law stood outside my door and said loudly, "She is unlucky. She brought death into this house." Her words were like knives. I wanted someone to hold me and tell me it wasn't my fault, but I received only hate. My husband, Aaron, slowly became distant. He no longer asked how I felt. He stopped comforting me. When I cried, he turned away. I was falling apart, and he didn't even notice. One day, he came into the room and said coldly, "Maybe you're just not meant to be a mother." That night, I cried like never before. I held my pillow and asked God, "Why me?" My heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. Months passed. I went to doctors. I took every medicine. I followed every piece of advice. I prayed every single night. But still, I couldn't get pregnant again. Then one evening during dinner, my mother-in-law shouted in front of the whole family, She will never give us a child. She is useless. Her words hit me like a rock. I felt so small, like I didn't matter at all. I stood up and ran to my room. I locked the door, fell on the bed, and screamed into the pillow. I cried and cried until my body was shaking. I felt empty. I felt like I wasn't a real woman. I felt invisible in that house. No one came to check on me, not even Aaron. I was all alone with my pain. And then something worse happened. Something that destroyed my life completely. One day, my mother-in-law told Aaron, "She's meeting someone else. That's why she doesn't want a baby." It was a complete lie. But Aaron believed her. He looked at me with cold, hateful eyes and said, "I want a divorce. Leave this house tonight." I was frozen. My voice was gone. My heart stopped beating for a second. I slowly packed my things. My hands were shaking. I looked at the walls where I had once dreamed of building a family. And then I walked out of that house alone, like trash thrown away. I had nowhere to go, no family to help, no one to call. I rented a small room in a quiet street. To survive, I started working at a small gift shop. I wrapped presents for people who had happiness in their lives, while my heart was still in pieces. The world felt cold. I felt like a ghost walking through each day. Then one afternoon, a man walked into the shop. His name was Daniel Walker. He asked for a birthday card and smiled. But when he saw my face, his smile faded. He noticed my red eyes. He gently asked, "Are you okay?" I tried to speak, but my tears came first. I shook my head. He didn't ask more. He just gave me a kind look and left. But the next day, he came again. And the day after that, too. He didn't ask too many questions. He just sat, talked, and listened. His voice became peace to my broken soul. For the first time in a long time, I felt seen. I felt human again. Daniel was not like others. He never judged me. He never told me to move on. He just sat beside me quietly. Sometimes we spoke. Sometimes we just sat in silence. And that silence felt warm. After a year of friendship, Daniel held my hand and said, "I want to build a future with you. Will you marry me?" I cried happy tears and said, "Yes." It was not just a yes to marriage. It was a yes to life, a yes to hope. 2 months after our wedding, I felt something soft, something new inside me. I went to the doctor. This time when I came out, I was crying again, but these were tears of joy. I was pregnant. This time Daniel held my hand every step of the way, every doctor's visit, every pain, every fear. He was there. 9 months later, I gave birth to a healthy baby boy. The first cry I heard was the most beautiful sound of my life. The nurse placed him in my arms. I looked into his eyes and whispered, "You are my miracle." We named him Oliver Walker. Years passed. Oliver grew fast. He was kind, smart, and loving just like Daniel. One day, his school called me for a meeting. I held Oliver's hand and walked into the principal's office. I froze. Sitting behind the desk was Aaron, my ex-husband. He looked at me, then at Oliver. His eyes were full of shock and regret. He stood up slowly and said, "Emily?" I nodded. He looked at Oliver again and asked, "Is he your son?" I pulled Oliver close and said, "Yes, he is my son." Aaron said nothing, but I saw his eyes fill with tears. Maybe he remembered everything. Maybe he understood what he had lost. But I was not that broken girl anymore. I had peace. I had my life. And Oliver smiled and said, "Nice to meet you, sir." Aaron's hands shook. The past was standing in front of him, but the present had already won. Now I live in Bristol. I run a small center for women who feel broken, just like I once did. Women who have lost babies. Women who are called barren. Women who are blamed and judged. I sit with them. I listen to them. I hold their hands and say, "You are not broken. You are not unlucky. You are strong. God has a plan for you." Sometimes pain comes before joy. People once called me cursed. They said I was useless. But today, I am a mother. I am a healer. I am a woman of strength.
여기까지입니다. 감동이 느껴지셨나요? 구독, 좋아요, 완료 댓글은 저에게 종합 비타민과 같습니다. 감사합니다.